I like movies that go where they go, sometimes to the detriment of what people think should be first, second, and third act. So if you see a great movie like, The Life and Death of Colonel Blimp, or I'm trying to think of another, or like Man Push Cart, where sometimes people don't change the way that they think they ought to, or the way that we think they ought to, and they kind of end up. Taxi Driver is I know this film's getting compared to it a lot, but in Taxi Driver, he is literally right where he starts at the end of the movie. Despite the explosion of violence, absolutely nothing has changed for him at the end. That's actually what I liked about the script. It has that early 70s feel, and not just early 70s, a lot of really, really good scripts. The Wire was really good at this too, and so were The Sopranos, where they embrace the fact that actually the human experience is not change. We don't have character arcs, and a lot of people will fight tooth and nail to keep their equilibrium, which in nature equilibrium equals death. So they're basically trying to maintain an ongoing death. So there is something, but it becomes, I think, kind of perversely heroic when you watch Paul fight off every attempt that people and life has to expand the canvas of his existence. He just shuts everyone down. So yeah, I think that's what made it to me way more realistic, is that he does not change, and he will fight this. Other people, they don't change even if they act like they've changed, but they really haven't. Everyone that they cast, they were so real in their types that it actually didn't strike me as all that funny, because I had been in Staten Island a few weeks before we shot just to look around, and all those types were there. So because I was so used to the environment, and Robert, in casting and writing the movie, nailed it all, none of it seemed all that ridiculous or funny to me after a while. It didn't seem deadly serious. It just seemed like, well, yeah, that's how their life is. People like Paul probably stood out a little more in the 70s and 80s, but now, with the internet, with Twittering, with people being able to be connected and on their iPods, you can go through your day. You can go through your day and be up to date with everything that's going on in the news and with your friends without ever having to open your mouth or see anyone face to face anymore. And so I think that's a very real condition that we're heading towards. And I think what's kind of frightening is someone like Paul. It's going to be harder for people like that to stand out in the future, because dynamic people will be acting like Paul. In a way, a lot of people that affected great change in the world or pushed us forward must have been considered weirdos or losers or loners for being wrapped up in stuff that absolutely no one even understood or could conceive of. Now, there's a huge chasm between someone like an Einstein or a George Washington Carver, just looking at the way that peanuts are growing, and someone like a Paul Alfiero, who does not want to be connected with anything, but in his mind, he is working on a greater level. But I think what makes him kind of less of a loser is that he's not trying to force his passions on anyone. He's actually trying to avoid them. It's almost like, you guys don't deserve the love that I project out towards this, I mean, I almost think that's why he's not in the stands. He can't afford to be in there, but I bet even if he could, he'd be like, I don't want to be in the screaming masses. My love is this is a sacred temple that I quietly am with my equally, elect friend, if that makes any sense. I have a MySpace and a Facebook, but that's just to post dates. I'm a big believer in, I think of all people, Bruce Lee said this, to know oneself is to observe yourself in action with another person. I mean, if you're by yourself and you're answering emails or posting stuff online, in your head, you are always suave and have the last word and have the perfect thing to say, but it's not until you are face-to-face with another human or another group of people that you are really going to know who you are. So I try very hard, and it's very easy to want to fall into that other trap. It's because it's very comforting that way, but you want to connect with people, or at least I want to try to connect with people for as long as I can.